Public News Service Daily Newscast for Tuesday, December the 11th, 2018. I'm Mike Clifford. The U.S. support of fossil fuels has met with protest and laughter at the UN Climate Conference. Also on the Tuesday rundown, we take you to a major city with a look at how segregation impacts life outcomes, plus efforts to aid more veteran farmers. First, here's our top story. Protesters Monday disrupted the Trump administration's only official event at the UN Climate Conference. The LA Times reports that was a panel defending fossil fuels, which was met with laughter and chants of keep it in the ground. They report scores of demonstrators from youth and indigenous groups let President Trump's energy advisor, Wells Griffith, get 10 minutes into his policy talk before erupting into loud, prolonged guffaws, followed by chanting. Anessa Khan of Sustain U.S. says Trump's presence is a joke. His only priority is ensuring fossil fuel CEOs squeeze every last dollar out of our communities. The Times notes that 2 days earlier, the U.S. sided with Russia, Saudi Arabia, and Kuwait to block endorsement of a landmark climate report that warned of dangers of allowing warming beyond 2.7 degrees Fahrenheit over pre-industrial levels. It turns out a person's zip code can be a determining factor in life outcomes, and a new analysis examines the impacts of structural segregation in one of Ohio's largest cities. More on that from Mary Sherman.
With more than 388,000 residents, Cleveland is Ohio's second most populous city. It's also ranked by census data as one of the nation's most segregated. Data from the Center for Community Solutions reveals wide disparities between black and white residents in the areas of birth outcomes, criminal justice, income, and health. Research associate at the center, Kate Warren, says many other cities in the Midwest are facing similar issues.
This is transferable when it comes to historical segregation of cities and black populations in cities being isolated in certain areas and facing worse outcomes. So other cities can certainly learn from what Cleveland is experiencing.
Warren says current segregation in Cleveland is a result of decades of discriminatory policy decisions and disinvestment in areas populated primarily by African Americans.
While the racial gap in high school graduation rates has narrowed in Cleveland, white residents are still more likely to access higher education, which could lead to a better employment opportunity. Senior advocates in Maine are thinking ahead to the new year and a new administration as it sets priorities for helping seniors across the state, including affordable housing.
Governor-elect Janet Mills, a Democrat, says she wants to release the $15 million housing bond that voters approved in 2015 to create more low-cost housing for seniors. Governor Paul LePage had refused to release the bond, claiming there's no guarantee the money would go toward affordable housing rather than for-profit developers. Amy Gallant with AARP Maine says the $15 million is a good first step, but far from the original senior housing plan.
Initially, the estimate was $60 million. What can we do to build a bridge between $15 million and $60 million?
Maine is known for having the oldest overall population of any state, but fewer people may realize that about 1 in 3 older Mainers lives only on Social Security income, which averages $13,000 a year, according to the Maine Council on Aging. I'm Laura Rossbrow-Tellem reporting.
The governor-elect there, Janet Mills, will be sworn into office in January. Now to the Midwest. With time short in the lame duck legislative session, some policy groups and youth advocates are hopeful lawmakers will pass raise the age legislation. Michigan is one of only 4 states that automatically prosecutes all 17-year-olds as adults. Companion bills would change that age from 17 to 18. They've passed out of a House committee with bipartisan support. Elise Guevara-Warren with the Michigan League for Public Policy says a full House vote is quickly needed.
Because of the way that the law is, we do have to get it over to the Senate with 5 days at least in between. So we're hoping that legislative leaders will see this as a positive thing that they can do as they're getting ready to move on, and that they'll prioritize it.
Guevara-Warren explains that most 17-year-olds do have nonviolent charges, and if the measures are passed, they would be tried in juvenile court and have access to age-appropriate rehabilitation services. The final day of the session in Michigan is December the 20th. And finally, we head to Nebraska, where Eric Gladys reports the 2019 legislative session is just around the corner, and champions of beginning farmer tax credit are hoping to leverage the program's success to open more land to military veterans.
Created in 2001, the program offers both landowners and new farmers tax incentives and mentorships with experienced farmers during critical startup phases. Jordan Rasmussen with the Center for Rural Affairs says bringing new, younger people into farming has created positive ripple effects across the state.
The beginning farmer tax credit has helped bring those new folks into the community. Those are folks that are living in our communities. They're sending their children to school, so they have a broad-reaching impact when that one farmer comes into the fold.
Since the program's inception, more than 1,400 new farmers have connected with some 1,800 property owners and paid nearly $79 million in rent. Rasmussen says a new bill encouraging veterans to try their hand at farming and ranching would increase incentives for property owners by 1% if they agree to rent land or other assets to qualified applicants.
Rasmussen says the program's been an effective economic stimulus. In 2016, every dollar in tax credits paid to property owners generated more than $8 paid in rent by beginning farmers. I'm Mike Clifford, and you've been newsin' and cruisin' with Public News Service. We are member and listener supported, and we're online at publicnewsservice.org.
Do you or a loved one have a chronic condition such as diabetes, a heart condition, or asthma? Do you or a loved one have a severe allergy to a certain food, drug, or insect? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are a candidate for an electronic medical alert watch, the alternative to the traditional medical ID bracelet. An electronic medical alert watch visibly communicates a person's health conditions, drug, food, and other allergies, and other critical information to help make a diagnosis and save a life. Take control of your health. Protect yourself or your loved ones and order an electronic medical alert watch today. Visit www.epill.com. That's epill.com. Affordable, free shipping, and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Remember, www.epill.com. That's epill.com. ePill.
Hey, it's Steve Harvey here for the Illinois Broadcasters Association, and in a recent survey, the Illinois Emergency Management Agency was asked to name the top 5 items that every Illinois family needs to have in their home's emergency disaster kit. Check out these answers. Water, can't live without it. Number 2, non-perishable food. Well, after all, a man gotta eat, right? Number 3, weather radio, and make sure you got fresh batteries too. Number 4, flashlight. Even more reason to have fresh batteries on hand. Number 5, first aid kit. Look, there's no reason to feud over what items to put in your family's emergency disaster kit. Get the answers and more at ready.illinois.gov. That's ready.illinois.gov.
Sponsored by the Illinois Emergency Management Agency, aired in cooperation with the Illinois Broadcasters Association and this station.
Ugh, this phone drives me crazy. Excuse me, I'm the Sprint intern from Sprint. Try my new iPhone XR with an amazing liquid retina display.
This is amazing. Mind if I snap a few photos? Look at that color. I love this display.
I'm gonna need that back.
Switch to Sprint and get iPhone XR 64 gigabytes for $0 per month with an eligible trade-in and a Sprint Flex lease. Visit a Sprint store, sprint.com/iPhone, or call 1-800-SPRINT1.
Phone $0 per month for 18 months after $31.25 per month. Credit applied within 2 bills. If cancel early, remaining balance due. Excludes tax. Subject to credit. $30 activation fee. Coverage and offer not everywhere. Restrictions apply.
From Keene, the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darrell W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, December 11th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.71 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,247 per ounce. Zen is trading at $5, and the average price of Bitcoin is $3,391. Antiwar.com reports the Trump administration continues to hold out April as a goal for finalizing a peace deal in Afghanistan. There is little public sign of progress being made towards that end, however, and reasons to be pessimistic. U.S. talks with the Taliban have been limited, and what's happened so far is unclear. The Afghan government's Peace Council has expressed opposition to the U.S. making deals with the Taliban without them, while the Taliban has seen little reason to negotiate with an Afghan government that doesn't have the power to make any deals without U.S. permission. But most importantly, the military situation in Afghanistan keeps getting worse, not better. This is derailing military expectations that they can enforce a better settlement in the future, and also has the military increasingly vocal in opposition to withdrawing from Afghanistan in defeat. This all combines into a lot of pushback against getting a deal done in the next few months, and combining that with the administration's constant interest in blaming Pakistan when the war is going badly, it's hard to envision everyone coming to a reasonable realization that the Afghan war is better off ending sooner rather than later.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. UPI reports social media surpassed printed newspapers as the fourth most used source of news, according to the Pew Research Center. 20% of those surveyed from July 30th to August 12th responded they often get their news from social media, including Facebook and Twitter, compared with 16% for print newspapers. In 2016, print newspapers were ahead of social media 20% to 18%. Television remains the top source at 49%, but is down 8 percentage points from 2016. News websites are number 2 at 33% compared with 28% 2 years ago. Radio remains third at 26%, 1 percentage point ahead of 2016. Local news is the most popular on television compared to cable TV news and national evening network news shows, 37%, 30%, and 25% respectively. 9% of respondents said they got news from a streaming device on their televisions the first time the question has been asked. A majority of those who got news from streaming TV, often 73%, also say they got news often on broadcast or cable television. News usage varies drastically between younger and older Americans. 81% of those 65 and older said they got news from television often. However, only 16% of those 18 to 29 said they often got news from television. Amongst the older age group, 39% got news from print newspapers often, compared with 18% for any other age group. Online news sites are most popular among those 30 to 49. 27% of 18 to 29-year-olds got news from news sites, the second most commonly used platform for news for that age group. Social media is the most popular news platform among the youngest adults at 36%, ahead of news websites 27%, TV 16%, radio 13%, and print 2%. Zencash is now Horizon. Horizon is a privacy platform built on zero-knowledge technology with a decentralized secure node architecture. The Horizon platform enables real-life uses beyond currency, including the ability to privately chat with other people. Soon, Horizon will enable you to publish information and go anywhere on the web, all with complete privacy. Horizon, bringing privacy to life. Learn more at horizon.global. HORIZEN.global. Reuters reports kneeling in front of riot police, 32 religious leaders and activists were arrested at the U.S. border fence in San Diego on Monday during a protest to support a group of Central American migrants. More than 400 demonstrators, many leaders of churches, mosques, synagogues, and indigenous communities, sought a halt to detention and deportation of migrants and for the United States to welcome the group that arrived in Tijuana, Mexico in November. Singing and praying, religious leaders moved forward in lines of 4 to 6, some wearing t-shirts reading, "Love Knows No Borders." They were handcuffed and led away by federal agents upon entering a restricted area in front of the fence. Joyce Aljuni, General Secretary of the American Friends Service Committee, said, "As a Quaker who believes in our shared humanity, we're calling on the U.S. to respect the rights of migrants." This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Medicine is one of the most difficult, fast-paced, yet rewarding paths you can take. You can set out on your own and navigate the student loans, the bureaucracies, and systems that define a typical medical career. Or you can apply for the U.S. Army's Health Professions Scholarship Program and launch yourself into a medical career like no other. Your tuition will be completely covered, and when you graduate med school, you'll learn from and work with some of the most elite minds in medicine. That's the Army difference. Learn more and apply today at goarmy.com/HPSP.
At Domino's, we're more than pizza, so mix it up with our specialty chicken, stuffed cheesy bread, sandwiches, pastas, medium two-topping pizzas, and more for just $5.99 each, and we'll mix stand-up comedy with a robot.
Stuffed cheesy bread and my act have a lot in common. They're both super cheesy. Tough crowd.
You can also mix it up with Domino's salads, marbled cookie brownie, bread twists, and medium 2-topping pizzas. Order any 2 or more for just $5.99 each. 2-item minimum. Bone-in wings, handmade pan pizza, and bread bowl pasta will be extra. You must ask for this limited time offer. Prices, participation, delivery area, and charges may vary.
Radio. It's nothing new. It's been here all along. With free entertainment, news, sports, music, and information. It's not just part of life. It's a part of who we are. You know which station is going to tell you the score of the game, which one is going to give you a laugh in the morning, which one will give you something to sing along with. You know where to turn when the weather gets rough. When something big happens, good or bad, you know where to go. Because radio has been here all along. Radio is part of your community, woven into the fabric of what makes home, home. And now, radio has evolved to move with you with the Next Radio app in your FM-enabled phone. Just plug in your headphones to start experiencing radio in a whole new way while using way less battery and data than streaming apps. Check out the live guide to see and interact with live radio stations. Easily find your favorites, like the one you're listening to right now. And as always, it's totally free. Download the Next Radio app today. Next Radio, live and local, wherever you go.
USA Radio News with Chris Barnes.
Time magazine announcing its Persons of the Year this year, minutes ago saying it will honor journalists whose work has cost them their freedom or their lives. Among them, they are assassinated Saudi journalist and Washington Post columnist Jamal Khashoggi, 2 jailed Myanmar reporters, and the 5 people of the Capital Gazette of Annapolis, Maryland, killed by a gunman earlier this year. President Trump is considering a short list of people to succeed John Kelly as his chief of staff, as Kelly's to leave at the end of the year.
North Carolina Congressman Republican Mark Meadows asked by reporters on Capitol Hill if he's been asked to fill the slot. Meadows issuing a written statement saying the president has a long list of qualified candidates, and I know he'll make the best selection for his administration.
USA Radio's Robin Walensky, and this is USA Radio News. Jared Kushner is a senior advisor to President Trump as well as his son-in-law, and last night he gave an update to Hannity on Fox about his efforts to end the conflict in the Middle East between Israel and the Palestinians.
You shouldn't be hijacking your children's future because of your grandparents' conflict. And this is a conflict that's been going on for way too long. And the way that people are living in Gaza and in the West Bank right now is not acceptable. And there's a lot we can be doing to improve their quality of life. But it comes with resolving some of these core issues. And it's not just the Israelis that want it. It's not just the Palestinian people who want it. It's all the people I speak to throughout the entire Middle East.
Mexico's now looking to invest $30 billion on Central American development over the next 5 years, saying it would help slow migration. The Mexican Foreign Ministry saying in a tweet the country will change its migration policies to respond to the needs required in the south of that country as well as Central America. This is USA Radio News. Thousands of people in the southeast still without power after a huge wintry storm. More than 325,000 homes and businesses across 6 states lost power when that storm was beating down on the region on Sunday into yesterday. Most of the remaining outages are in North Carolina. It could be a day or two before all the lights are back on. Cities in the Carolinas and Virginia getting anywhere from 11 to 14 inches of snow from the storm that continues to make air travel difficult, as over 1,000 flights were canceled yesterday and thousands more were delayed, and it's taking some time for the air travel system to get back on track. The CDC is reporting a record number of cases of a polio-like disease. This year, there are 158 confirmed cases of acute flaccid myelitis, or AFM. The disease, which mainly affects kids, traumatizes the nervous system and leaves many of them paralyzed. The CDC, which is still investigating 153 more possible AFM cases, does not know the cause of the disease or the reason for this year's sudden peak. And Delta Airlines is banning emotional support animals on flights longer than 8 hours. The airline is banning puppies and kittens altogether. Delta announcing it won't allow animals younger than 4 months to be support animals on any flights. And for USA Radio News, I'm Chris Barnes.
At Domino's, we're more than pizza, so mix it up with our specialty chicken, stuffed cheesy bread, sandwiches, pastas, medium 2-topping pizzas, and more for just $5.99 each, and we'll mix stand-up comedy with a robot.
Stuffed cheesy bread and my act have a lot in common. They're both super cheesy. Tough crowd.
You can also mix it up with Domino's salads, marbled cookie brownie, bread twist, and medium 2-topping pizzas. Order any 2 or more for just $5.99 each. 2-item minimum. Bone-in wings, handmade pan pizza, and bread bowl pasta will be extra. You must ask for this limited time offer. Prices, participation, delivery area, and charges may vary.
I don't mean to be so uptight, but my heart's been hurt a couple times by a couple guys that didn't treat me right. I ain't gonna lie.
Alexa, play Meant to Be.
Okay. If it's meant to be, it'll be, it'll be. Baby, just let it be. If it's meant to be, it'll be.
With Amazon Music, a voice is all you need. Get access to over 50 million songs. Download the Amazon Music app today.
Do you need dental insurance? Then call Physicians Mutual Insurance Company for details. Not just a discount plan. Real coverage for 350 procedures. Call 1-855-402-7556. Again, that's 1-855-402-7556. Offer is not available in Minnesota, Montana, New Hampshire, New Mexico, Rhode Island, Vermont, and Washington. Remember back a few years ago when you wanted to sell something? Where could you advertise that product? You had so many media to choose from. There were signboards and newspapers and radio and television. Which one should you pick? Well, thanks to Heartland Newsfeed, those days are over. Let us help you plan a print ad, an online ad, or a radio ad that will target your customer. And the price is based on the type of advertising you want to do, the size of the print ad, or the length of the radio spot. Or you can choose all three. And our prices are considerably more affordable than the competition. And best of all, we guarantee satisfaction. If you don't like your ad, we'll do it over for you. We want you to be satisfied with what we do, so you'll let us plan your advertising over and over. So, call Heartland Newsfeed today at 1-866-285-4117. That's 1-866-285-4117. It's a new type of advertising for a brand new century.
Hello, I'm Debbie Russ with the BBC News. The President of the European Commission, Jean-Claude Juncker, has said there's no room whatsoever to renegotiate the Brexit deal that the British Prime Minister Theresa May is trying to salvage. Mrs May is on a tour of Europe to ask Mr Juncker and her Dutch and German counterparts for concessions that would enable her Brexit deal to be passed by Parliament. From Brussels, here's Kevin Connolly.
As Theresa May began her short, hectic journey around some of the capitals of Europe, the background music for her mission could hardly have been less encouraging. To applause in the chamber of the European Parliament, Jean-Claude Juncker repeated the EU mantra that the deal on offer was the best and only one possible, and that there was absolutely no room for renegotiation. That leaves the UK to focus on changes which would fall short of renegotiation, and here Mr Juncker offered slightly more encouragement, saying that there was perhaps room for further clarification and further interpretations.
The United Nations is appealing for $5.5 billion to support refugees from Syria next year who are being hosted in neighbouring countries. The money will be used to provide education, job opportunities and other help for displaced people in Turkey, Lebanon, Jordan and elsewhere. Imogen Folks reports from Geneva.
Since the Syrian conflict began, 1 million Syrian babies have been born in exile. A trickle of refugees, around 37,000, have returned home this year, and that could increase to 250,000 next year, but it's just a fraction of the estimated 5.6 million Syrian refugees in neighbouring countries. Return is risky. Sporadic fighting continues.
The two sides in Yemen's civil war have given details of their plan for a mass prisoner swap. At peace talks in Sweden, the Yemeni government and the Houthi rebels exchanged lists that included the names of some 15,000 captives. The UN-sponsored talks have involved the first face-to-face meeting between the warring parties for 2 years. Thailand's military government has lifted a ban on political activity for the first time since seizing power in 2014. From Bangkok, Jonathan Head reports.
Dozens of people have been detained and charged in Thailand in recent years for violating a military order banning gatherings of more than 5 people. Now this and other decrees restricting political activity have been lifted in preparation for an election which now looks certain after repeated delays to be held next February. However, the military will not be stepping back completely from politics. A 250-seat Senate, appointed by the current regime, will give it a significant say over future policies, and even in the choice of the next Prime Minister. There's also a new party, widely assumed to be a military proxy, which is contesting the election.
World News from the BBC. Donald Trump has said he will order the US military to build a wall along the border with Mexico if Congress does not come up with the money to fund the project. In a flurry of early morning tweets, the president insisted that the wall, one of his key campaign promises, would be built. He'll discuss the issue later with two top Democrats in Congress, Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. Time has selected a group of journalists they labelled as the Guardians for the magazine's 2018 Person of the Year. They include murdered Washington Post columnist Jamal Khashoggi. Among the others are Wa Lone and Jo Suo, two Reuters journalists imprisoned in Myanmar for investigating the massacre of Rohingya Muslims. The Rwandan authorities say a genocide suspect has been extradited from Denmark and will be back in the country in a few hours' time. With the details, here's our Africa editor, Will Ross.
Rwandan prosecutors accuse Wenceslas Twagirayezu of extermination, murder and crimes against humanity during the 1994 genocide. At the time, he was a local official of the Coalition for the Defence of the Republic, or CRD, a radical pro-Hutu party which is accused of inciting as well as carrying out violence. Mr. Twagirayezu, who is now 50, is also accused of leading a local militia in Rubavu district in the northwest of the country. He'd been fighting his extradition through the courts in Denmark, where he's been living since 2001.
A popular food delivery company in India has apologised after one of its employees was caught sampling the food he was supposed to deliver. A video of the employee, who worked for Zomato, showed him sitting astride a moped, taking boxed orders of takeaway food out of his delivery bag, eating from them and then putting them back. In a statement, Zomato apologised and said it's planning to introduce tamper-proof tapes for its containers. The delivery man lost his job. BBC News.
Heartland Newsfeed is looking for an advertising sales manager to sell advertising for the website. For more information, contact Jake Leonard at admin@heartlandnewsfeed.com.
They were outnumbered, out-equipped. They had no chance of winning, but they had one huge advantage: General George Washington.
The fate of unborn millions will now depend, under God, on the courage and conduct of this army. We have to resolve to conquer or die.
Just as the leadership of one man helped form a nation, today leadership can transform the world. Leadership is in you. Now pass it on from passiton.com. Early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise.
And all was Benjamin Franklin wise. So you actually think electricity can pass through metal? Ha! Ben Franklin, go fly a kite.
Excellent idea. Where are my keys?
Besides the bifocals, Ben invented the Franklin stove, the odometer. Whoa! Oh, and the lightning rod. Ingenuity, pass it on. From the Foundation for a Better Life at values.com.
Your NBC Sports Radio update starts now.
John Stash Hour, Monday Night Football. A lot of NFC wild card playoff implications. If the season ended now, the Seahawks and Vikings would have the two spots. The game was 6-0 with 3 minutes to go, and then the Seahawks scored 15 points in 18 seconds. A touchdown, a two-point conversion, and then a fumble recovery for TD that put the game away. They won 21-7. Russell Wilson, the Seahawks have now won 4 in a row. At 8-5, they're in good shape to get to the postseason.
If you want to be a championship team, you got to find ways to win, even when it doesn't look pretty. You know, and we've had a lot of great games. We've had some tough, and we found ways to get through it. And tonight, you know, we can stay the course. We kept battling, and we thought it was going to be a crazy game anyway, in a different way. But sure enough, we were able to get a huge win. And what we really care about, what we love, is winning. You know, and there's nothing like winning.
Yeah, it was ugly. Only 550 yards of offense combined, and Wilson only threw for 72 yards. The Seahawks had 214 yards on the ground. NBA, it was Dwayne Wade against LeBron James for presumably the final time. Teammates for 4 years in Miami. They came into the league together. Wade is retiring. LeBron and the Lakers beat the Heat 108-105. Top 5 teams in the West all won. Not only the Lakers, but the Clippers, although they needed overtime to win at Phoenix. Tobias Harris, 33 points. Golden State, a 4th straight win, beating Minnesota. Steph Curry scored 38. Draymond Green back in the lineup, so the Warriors are healthy. Oklahoma City actually sitting first in the West right now. Paul George, 31 points, made 5 of 6 threes. Russell Westbrook, a triple-double, in a win over Utah, and Denver beat Memphis, and the top teams in the East all won. Toronto didn't play, but the other four all won 6 in a row for the Celtics, 113-100 in New Orleans. Spread holiday cheer with Panera Bread gift cards, soup, salad, sandwiches, bakery treats with a gift for everyone will love. Plus, for every $50 in gift cards purchased, get a $10 bonus card for yourself. Order online, visit Panera.
This is Betty White. I know you don't need one more thing to worry about, but listen, high blood pressure can cause kidney damage, blindness, heart attack, stroke, and you can have high blood pressure even if you feel all right. 1 in 7 adults has it, but it's easy to get your blood pressure checked, and you can treat it if it is too high. So don't worry about it, don't ignore it, just see your doctor and check it out.
For your free booklet, visit the Will Rogers Institute at wrinstitute.org and find us on Facebook and Twitter.